We can start.
Okay. Oh, my bad. No. Can you do it as we're in session? Okay. And then just. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready? Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Student Senate. We're going to begin with our roll call. AC Welch.
Here.
President just President Becker.
Here.
Yes. Okay. VPAA Murphy.
Here.
VPSA Tombu.
Here.
Treasurer Ercolani.
Here.
Assistant Treasurer Weber.
Here.
Ace Chair Mystic.
Here.
Services Coordinator Tibetanwa.
Here.
Concert Chair Christensen.
Here.
Doc Logan.
Here.
Senator Stallings. Senator Christian.
Here.
Senator Monteforte.
Here.
Senator Moen.
Here.
Senator Vale.
Here.
Senator Gumidiala.
Here.
Senator Jones.
Here.
Senator Lloyd.
Here.
Senator Zernig.
Here.
Senator Nieto.
Here.
Senator Curate.
Here.
Senator McDowell.
Here.
Senator Herbert.
Here.
Senator Piedro Santa.
Here.
Senator Collinger.
Here.
Senator Pierce.
Here.
Senator Knapp. Senator Tiberwell.
Here.
ACES Co-Director DeRoche.
Absent.
ACES Co-Director Coleman.
Absent.
ACES Outreach Coordinator Preston.
Present.
Green Fund Co-Chair Higginhauser.
Here.
Technical Advisor Gould. CBS Delegate Hill.
Here.
SHIC Delegate Cheslak.
Here.
Scarlet and Black Delegate Bulky. All right.
What about Doc?
Poppy.
Are you here?
Bark, 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 bark. She here. All right. So now we're going to move into the approval of the minutes. Do we have anyone seconding that? I saw Senator Tiberwell, so we're going to vote on that. Oh, no. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those opposed? All those abstaining? I saw some opposed. Okay. So now we're actually going to vote on that. So the polls are open. Nope. Polls will be open. They're open. Okay, the polls are open. This is the vote on the approval of the minutes. A is in favor, B is opposed, C is abstaining. We're looking for 18. We have 15. So if everyone could click away. Oh, we have 18. All right. And the polls are now closed. There we go. With 16 in favor, 1 abstention, and what is that? There's another abstention. All right, that passes. So, thank you. We are going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public comments, announcements, and additional events. Do we have any public comment? I see Senator Pierce. No, you good.
Hey everybody, so I just want to let everybody know for the last time that there's going to be a midterm election voting booth in this room on this Tuesday the 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Feel free to let your constituents know. It's obviously a really great opportunity and our only on-campus voting opportunity before the November 6th election. And if you need any info on same-day registration, let me know. Or if you want to get more involved and get out the vote efforts, let me know. And yeah, thanks.
DOC Logan.
Okay, senators, I must take your photo after this. I was gonna make it an agenda item, but I trust that you won't run away. So after, please don't leave so that I can take your photo and put your beautiful smiling faces on the website. And if you haven't sent a bio, please write it and then send it to the SGA Tech Advisor, not me. If you do send it to me, it will get up. But it would be great if you could send it to sgatech@grinnell.edu.
Thank you. Treasurer Ercolani.
Hello everyone. Just a quick note. do want to say that when I make this announcement, I'm not speaking as the SGA treasurer, but rather as the president of UGSDW, the Union of Grinnell Student Dining Workers. For those of you who are student workers on this campus, which is pretty much everyone in this room, because most of you are senators or do jobs for SGA in some capacity, you should have received an email on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, from Mark Watts, informing you of a notice of a petition for an election. That is that the Union of Grinnell Student Dining Workers has filed to have an election to represent all student jobs on campus. Really fun stuff. Interestingly though, the college is not a huge fan of this and has hired a second labor attorney at the largest Des Moines law firm, Nyemaster Good. He's the head of their labor division. He specializes in, quote, union avoidance, which is fun. And they're going to be on campus on Wednesday at some point, probably through to Friday, to have a public hearing in which the college's two high-powered attorneys, one of whom has actually delivered an oral argument before the Supreme Court of the United States before, argue against somebody who has mock trial experience and the other members of the union. It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be great, it's absolutely hilarious. We're having a good time with it, but also it's really serious. This is like literally historic. We were interviewed by actual historians, it's fun. And just wanted to keep you all updated on that. We will have an update for the Student Senate that is scheduled after fall break ends. This is a public forum, anyone can attend. If you want it, it's the time and date, the time and location have not yet been confirmed because 101 is booked. But if anyone would like to know more about this, feel free to send me an email at president@ugsdw.org.
Thank you very much. Diversity and Outreach Coordinator Logan.
Sorry, another announcement, also not in really DOC position. One of my professors, Barb Trish, is looking for interested students to help with increasing Grinnell's voter turnout. Apparently it's really, really low comparatively to like other colleges in Iowa, period. We just have like low ass voter turnout. And I actually don't think a lot of people know that. So if this is the kind of thing that like really interests you and you're willing to give a few hours of your time, let me know and I can put you in contact with her and y'all can collaborate on some get out the vote. I think like competitions or something or like ideas brainstorming. It's a great way to get involved.
Thank you. Ace Chair Mystic. Can we get a mic to Ace Chair Mystic, please?
I have a question for you, Quinn. Will the talk, hearing, conversation, with that event, is that going to be like, can that be live streamed or recorded?
Yeah, so we're not quite sure on the legality of doing any of that because it's technically like a court proceeding. We're going to ask on Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon when we meet with the hearing officer and the representatives from the college about transcription methods. I don't think we're going to be able to record or live stream, but the hearing's probably going to happen like with the exception of a short lunch break from 9 to 5 on Wednesday and Thursday and into Friday. So if you can stop by at any of those times, like we will have Facebook posts, we will have an email sent out to all of our members, like it has not yet been confirmed because we tried to get 101 and then the college is like, oh no, sorry, the 101's like too booked. And it was either like, it was originally going to be in Minneapolis, then we got it moved to the Jasper County Courthouse in Newton, and then we got it moved to Grinnell College. And so it's still kind of, the location's a bit up in the air still.
Thank you. Do we have any further, oh, Senator Gumigiala, can we get a mic down?
Thanks. Reform is on Tuesday at 11 in the SGA offices. So you guys know, I would love it if you came. We're going to talk about the resolutions for the Associate Director of Student Activities, stipend, and the conduct standing for student leaders. And I believe there's going to be another discussion about expanding the tech advisor position. So come on Tuesday at 11. Great. Thanks.
Administrative Coordinator Welch.
Hey everyone, I have a couple announcements. One is just a general note to speak clearly into the mic, just so people here can understand and hear you, and also for the minutes, so it's clear on video. The other thing is there's going to be no Student Senate next weekend, next Sunday, October 21st. Two other things. Shout out to just all of you senators for super excellent attendance this year. You've been so great. And I don't know, we were told by admin that no one's ever going to show up for Senate on Sunday night, so I'm really proud of all of you. Thank you. And then last thing is congrats and welcome to Senator Felipe Monteforte, who won the off-campus special election.
Services Chair Totoma. Services Coordinator, sorry. Could we get one mic on like each side of this open square? Thank you.
Okay, real quick. There is an opportunity given by the CLS, it's the Civic Action Academy. It's going to be at Drake University from November 9th to November 10th. It's basically if you want to meet with other people on other campuses that sort of do the same things we do, but in a service-oriented role. CLS pays for transportation and like if you have to stay overnight. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email, I'll get you connected. Tell your constituents too. You don't have to be an SGA as long as you're in a service position or interested.
Thank you. Do we have any further public comments, announcements, or events? President Becker? Can we get a mic down, please? Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you all for coming to my pancake breakfast this morning. We all had so much fun. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have gone either. It was really, really early. But I do want to do some form of like SGA bonding, kind of give everyone an opportunity to interact with each other outside of this context. So if you have any ideas on how we can do that moving forward, please like shoot me an email or just let me know, because I do think that's valuable, but like we'll try and do a time that's not 10 a.m. on a Sunday. Oh, and this is also my dog Poppy.
Oh, welcome, Poppy. Thank
yeah,
you.
So if you have any ideas, let me know.
All right. Do we have anything else to add? No? Okay, seeing nothing, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the ACE budgets. So if we could get a mic to ACE Chair Mystic so we could present and discuss the budgets. Turn it on.
It's okay. Hello guys. So I woke up this morning very stressed about today because we had about $5,000 worth of requested funds. So it was a lot of money, but luckily we avoided some casualties. We passed the budget for November. So we're really excited for that to get rolling for after fall break. That'll be on the 17th of November. Bagel Brunch came and we tabled that. We also tabled Diwali just because for both of them we wanted to make sure that they went to other sources to get more funding just because of the large amount of it, seeing how like in previous instances. Oh, Diwali's not presenting. Yeah, they're not presenting. Yeah, they got tabled, so they're not gonna be here. What was I saying? Sorry. Both of those events have been funded by school entities rather than like SGA substantially like in the past, and so we wanted to like make sure they went and got that money before like basically asking for their entire budget from us. And yeah. So we got some funding for some Halloween events as well. So 3 of them will be happening first week back. So be excited for that too. Thanks guys. Any questions? Sorry. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Do we have any questions on these budgets? Any comments? Concerns? No? Seeing none, we are going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Wait, did we have to vote on any of those? No, we did not. Okay, we're going to move on to item 5, which is the SPC and services budget.
Hi guys. This was a rough week. We got 12 budgets in total. We were in there for a while, but it's expected. People come in because it's fall break and everyone's sort of panicking. I need cash. The first one was Campus Democrats. This was a midweek budget. It was an emergency budget vote that happened with cabinet. They were bringing 2 speakers onto campus, and we decided like an informed electorate is a great electorate. So we passed it as cabinet. Next was CVS, ACSU. They have a meeting between the men of CVS and the men of ACSU. It's a monthly kind of thing. They wanted food for the event. As you know, we have a policy. We only fund 2 events for student groups in SPC. This counts as 1 for CVS, / ACSU. We'll figure which one I'll take it from. We have Extreme Society. We'll get into that. They're here to present on their budget. We had DIY clothing and fun. They asked for $589, but a lot of the things they asked for we felt they could get from other places on campus, like brushes and paint. So we're like, we'll fund the sewing machine and the thread, but we'll table everything else till you can find other sources. Body Positivity Club. They wanted training for their 2 leaders. It's a new club, but we recognize that they've been working with Jen Jacobson, and they still haven't fully flushed out the idea of what the club will look like. So we're hoping that they can go back and sit down and talk with her and see if perhaps they can have collaboration with her, get more cash from her, running out of cash, as you can see. Korean Christians at Grinnell, they wanted funding for traveling to service in Des Moines. We said we'd fund the first week, and then for the other 2 weeks we told them to, most of the cost comes from hiring a student driver for $16 an hour. So one of the people is eligible to drive, they just need training, so we asked them to go back and get training. And if that didn't work out, we'd still fund the whole thing. Cricket Club, they wanted cricket supplies. Synchronized Swimming Club, they wanted synchronized swimming club supplies. Quiz Bowl, they did really well their last competition. They came second. They lost to a high school team, which I thought was funny, but they said they're not losing next time. It was a really good team. All right, services. Emergency fund closet, they'll talk. MAPS, they work with the Children's Hospital in Iowa City. They're having a Halloween event, so they're buying snacks. They're also going to show Coco. Yeah, I wish I could go for that. Kids Music is an after-school program. Students at Grinnell teach kids music. Haha. And then finally, Food Recovery Network. They just wanted supplies. They're the group that sort of takes food that isn't eaten in D Hall, pack it up, and take it to like different places in the community. Yeah, so we have 2 big budgets to vote on. Hope you're excited. Let's do emergency fund, which Carlos is presenting.
Okay, could we get a mic to Senator Pedro Santos so he could present the emergency fund closet budget? Thank you.
Hello. So, what do? Do I just go through it like it was services again?
Yeah, but then like we'll add.
Okay. So, this itemized budget is for a food resource closet, or otherwise known as a dispo closet, at the Grinnell Middle School. There's a similar one run at the Grinnell High School that I manage, and it's in partnership with a tutoring mentoring program for students in the ILC, Individual Learning Center, or also known as the At-Risk program. It's running for about 3 years. It's been super successful, and so the middle school wants to do the same thing at the middle school. Because a lot of the students are food insecure, and in the winter a lot of the families can't afford electricity bills or other kinds of resources, whether it be hygiene products or clothes. And so they came to Connecting Knowings, the group, and asked if we could do a similar thing. And so we came and proposed this, and that was like a week ago. And so we came and asked for an emergency fund. Half of it is going towards starting an invisible closet, and then the other half is for an emergency fund which will address like student bills and accessibility, whether it be transportation or household bills for the family. yeah, in the future, I think there's a plan of maybe starting a partnership through SGA to get a semesterly budget so that it can become a more sustainable thing and maybe potentially get increased outreach. Right now, I'm in the process of talking with Food Recovery about getting getting food from D Hall into the closet, as well as Local Food Org, which is an organization run by Melissa. She's one of the owners of the Heritage Farm, and she helps give local foods to food insecure families, and she also is willing to donate. But given the horrible weather, it's been really hard for farms to donate food. So that's kind of been a setback, so we don't really have that. That's why there's a budget for $100 for food, so just we can get some into the closet. The hangers, $22 for 60 pieces of hangers, kind of ridiculous, but kids like to just pull shit off of the hangers and break them, so we try to buy a little more like sturdy, sustainable ones, so we don't have to keep purchasing them, but that can be something that's cut if need be. Yeah, it's super helpful. And yeah. Yep.
Okay, we're gonna discuss this. I think Services Chair Tivatomo, you have something to add?
Yeah, just for context, so we did meet with Carlos, me, Quinn, and Riley, and we do have plans to make this an actual program. This budget is here before you because we realized sort of the urgency of the situation. We realized that it would be great for us to like figure out how to fit this into our budget in the long term, but people need supplies now. And so that's why we decided to bring this forward to you today.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions? Could we get a mic back to CBS Delegate Hill? He's right behind you, Carlos.
Can you hear me? Okay. So this is an emergency like invisible closet that's gonna be put at the middle school. Like where at in middle school? It's like an invisible closet, but like have you guys done any like scouting for locations that this wouldn't be easily noticeable by other students, kind of make it identifiable for the students that are using it?
So, the way the invisible closet runs, so at the high school, there's a pretty big closet that's pretty well packed and resourced. At the middle school, since it's starting out, it's kind of hard to find a space, and so we have a smaller closet that a lot of the teachers gave up their space so we could put in hangers, shelves, and all that kind of stuff. And the reason it's invisible is because we don't require students to write their name down as any form of identity. We don't take inventory on what they take. I mean, we do in the sense of we'll look and if we need more stuff. But really, it's just trying to create a comfortable space where students can come. And the majority of the time, it goes through, so in the high school, it's this, his name's Dwight Ladig or Michelle Barker or Amber. They normally get the food or resources for the student if they don't feel comfortable entering the space. At the middle school, the nurse, Lisa Laris, or the social worker, Amy Miller, would be the ones that could get the food if the students didn't feel comfortable. Otherwise, it's a known location on the campus or the middle school, and students can come in when they want. They would just have to let an adult know that they're in the space in case, so that they're the only ones in it while they're getting the resources. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any... This is a discussion, so if anyone has anything to add to it, feel free. Senator Pedro Santa?
I will also say that, so the invisible closet, it does help support students who are food insecure, maybe are low income, come from single parent homes, but it's also a really cool space for students in town, both in the college and the high school and middle school, to kind of get to know one another. And that's kind of how the mentoring tutoring aspect came about. I was fortunate enough to meet a really cool, at the time, sophomore when I was a first year, who I became really good friends with. And beyond just providing physical needs, I think it's a really cool space where you can work on social aspects, both for the students at the college, but also the students in town, like in middle school or high school. And it really challenges the notion of what a Grinnellian is, which I think is really important. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool overall program that does more than just provide clothes and brings a face to a lot of support and service, which I feel a lot of times lacks in community support systems.
Thank you, Senator Pedro Santa. Does anyone have anything to add? Can we get a mic back to Sakatan?
Okay, yeah, so does this like depend on a certain amount of self-government on the part of the middle schoolers? Because I can see sort of scenarios where they just like rate it, or just take like food that they might not actually need, sort of, and is that a concern?
To access the closet, you have to inform one of the staff coordinators, so in this case it'd be the nurse or the social worker, that you're entering the closet. And so that's for privacy issues, both so that students who maybe don't feel comfortable having other students see them can access the closet, but at the same time it's so that the nurse and the social worker can keep track of what students need. Also, in the high school, we've never had an issue, and a lot of the times the biggest concern is not necessarily how much students take, but just getting students comfortable enough to enter the space. It took about 2 years for the invisible closet at the high school to really become a really comfortable space, and it takes a while beyond just like physically. I think the leaders and the people, how you approach it is really important. And I think at the middle school, it might be a little bit more complicated, but most of the students go through the nurse to get resources, so I see it being functioning the same way. And to actually access the room like physically, you have to go through the nurse's office or the social worker's office. And it's only available during school hours, so yeah.
Thank you. Could we get a mic to Senator Jones?
When the CLS considers a lot of their service projects, they talk a lot about reciprocity, and they consider that way we don't risk reinforcing potentially classes' power dynamics. How has that been considered by this project, and is that a priority?
Can you elaborate on what you're saying?
Like I remember at the beginning of the first year, the CLS made a presentation about how when we as Grinnell, which is like generally a very elite, more wealthy school than the town, that like doing service projects where it's only like a one-way street and we give directly and there's no reciprocity, that it reinforces power dynamics of classism. And so I think that's an interesting critique, and I just want to get your response on that.
All right. So, no. I guess the point of the invisible closet is not necessarily just to give physical stuff like food or clothes and stuff and then just like dip. The point of it is more so to provide a space where students, both from the college and the high school or middle school or potentially even elementary school, have a space where they can interact. And so there's constant volunteers, and we have a volunteer pool that would go and help manage the closet, especially as it starts. And a requirement, I mean, you kind of have to get interviewed, or at least know some of the leaders of Connecting Renowners to become part of it. And we definitely take into consideration that we don't want students coming in, college students coming in and making it seem like creating a savior complex. CLS this year also has something called subject service, where it's kind of deconstructing, like you said, the power dynamic beside or inside service, especially as college students go into the town and help out in maybe lower income environments. And so I guess a way directly is that we are providing primarily a space run through the middle school. This is a predominantly middle school run program that we just are able to help them get the money that they need. And so a lot of the students will interact more with the staff that they have there, more so than college students to start out with. But the staff at the middle school has also asked for mentoring and tutoring. And so in that sense, a part of the program description that we've written in, this is also a student service learning and work study position, and you can look at the program description on the CLS webpage, is something we call mutual mentoring and mutual tutoring. which is an understanding that when you support a student, it's not solely on the basis of, okay, what can I give you, but more so how, like you said, reciprocity, or how can you also in some way challenge your notion of a Grinnellian and maybe bring more nuance or complexity into how you position yourself within this town as a 4-year resident when all these students live here for the majority of their lives. And I think maybe while it might not be a physical reciprocity, it's definitely something that socially I've experienced in my 3 years. And we're going to do our best to create an environment like that, but solely on this project is more providing the means so that the school, the middle school, can do what they want to address a very imminent need, given that it's about wintertime. Yeah.
Thank you. Diversity and Outreach Coordinator Logan. Can we get a mic to the side, please? Thank you.
I just want to preface this by saying, like, this is not like interrogating your thing. I really respect this, like, emergency budget. Like, let's get it passed. Just in terms of like the future and like what this project is like, I was wondering what the partnership with the CLS on this could look like, and if there's any available funding. Because like I know they have, what are they called? Like funds, grants for students to partner with outside organizations and to start work like that. And so in the future, that might be something that could be considered.
So the CLS is kind of difficult. They have Spark Innovation Grants, which was how the resource closet at the high school was started 4 years ago by both, well, one's a 4th year, Naomi is a 4th year, and the other one graduated, Lucia. And so you could go through that, but the other form, like yesterday I attended a grant workshop, and there's a pool of money, a pool of funding in the Grinnell community that every year they allocate certain amounts of money to certain groups, and so that's a form of a budget that we're looking at. But this came out like maybe a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. The middle school contacted me. I got to meet them last week. I then met with Joshua, and so like this is really the first form of funding because it was the most accessible and I felt like the most likely to get passed, whereas stuff for CLS and whatnot would take at least a semester, which is what we're looking for. Like it was really awesome that Joshua and Quinn and Riley offered the semesterly budget through SGA, making this a more sustainable thing. But we are also looking at other forms of other grants or other forms of funding so that it becomes more sustainable. Also in the future, we're trying to get passed as a student service learning work study so that Connecting Grinnellians has 2 locations, 3 coordinator positions, supervisor coordinator position that oversees the work at the high school and the middle school, and then 2 subsequent coordinator positions, one that heads the Invisible Closet and Mentoring Tutoring program at the middle school, and the other one that heads and runs the one at the high school. But it's taken me, 2.5 years to get the one at the high school approved, so hopefully it doesn't take the same amount, but there's so many things now with minor policies, rightly so, because I think it's really important. But it's just a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of training. But yeah, in the future, we're trying to make it a little bit more sustainable through the CLS.
Ace Chair Mystic. Could we please get a mic? Thank you.
Again. So I guess like this isn't like a question or like, I don't know. I just thought of something that could also possibly be added in the future in terms of like possibly partnering with student organizations that are already on campus that would facilitate, I guess, workshops or some sort of like, you know, hanging out with these kids as a means of doing some more connecting work with students. I'm specifically thinking about like CBS, multicultural groups, like they always talk about how like a lot of student groups, especially students who like phenotypically don't look like they belong here, like don't really have a connection with the community, and so I think that like it would be beneficial to like literally use what's already like something that we're already getting going and that's been a part, like I didn't even know this existed, so like this is really, I think it would be beneficial if we could partner using those coordinator positions, those paid positions to like actually make this like a part of our community in a way, and like the Grinnell experience in a way, if that makes sense.
totally agree, and that's something we've been trying to address this year. Something also that I recognize is a lot of students maybe who are students of color might not feel super comfortable entering a lot of those spaces because it can, just a lot of stuff comes up and it can be kind of hard, but we're trying our best to make it accessible, and it takes some time, and I feel like in the future when this is maybe more well organized, or I mean it's organized, but like better funded, sustainable, it's a really solidified thing, then I'd love to reach out to a bunch of people. I just don't want to have people come in and then because of my lack of planning or lack of organization, because I can't predict everything, somebody has a bad experience and then some shit goes down and then I'm like, well, damn. But yeah, I totally, like Eden Gregory, like she teaches at the middle school. You know her? Oh yeah, you know the one at your posse? Yeah. So we're trying to go through her to see if there's a way that we can include a diverse set of volunteers and tutors into the mix. We have a pretty diverse set now. We have like 10 for about like 15 students. So yeah, but definitely something we can improve on.
Does anyone else have any questions on this budget? Or any comments? Senator Pietro Santa, do you have anything left to add?
No.
Okay, so we do need to vote on this. So do I see a motion to the previous question? Senator Lloyd, does anyone second that motion? Max, no. Senator Tiberwal? Okay, so, yeah.
I vote as a senator or no? Abstain? Okay.
Because you're presenting this, I believe you have to abstain. Yeah, Quinn?
No.
No, I don't think you have to
I
leave.
apologize for not. Thank you. Good stuff. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Generally, best practice is to abstain. You're also an elected senator, so you definitely don't have to leave.
Okay, so we had a seconding motion for that, so it's gonna be all those in favor of voting on this? Oh, are the polls, do you? Yeah, we have to do that, okay. Well, the polls are open, so we're just gonna go with it. A is all those in favor, B is opposed, C is abstaining, and this is for the budget for the emergency fund closet. That's everyone, so with 18 in favor and 1 abstention, this budget passes. Congratulations. All right. Do we have any further SPC and services budgets? Yeah, we do. All right. Can we get a mic back to services chair, to Tomoa? Can we just have a mic on each side so that people don't have to get up and like run them to each other? That would be perfect.
Okay, for this budget, we just want, like as a committee, we want to give context to it. We decided that we'd leave this to Student Senate / because the discussion revolved around the fact that, around 3 things, and one of those I think we should postpone to later. The first is that the college does use Extreme Society to advertise a lot, and it's sort of weird that we're subsidizing Grinnell's advertising, you know? The fact that they put it on all their pamphlets, but it's up to us to fund it. So that's something that came up, and we're thinking in the future of finding a way to fund this more sustainably so that, again, they had to cut down about 5 people, it was 15, now it's 10, they had to cut down to 10 people, just because it's a lot of money. But there were also questions about just like accessibility, and I'm sure the people presenting will address all those issues. Questions around accessibility. There was also the value to international students versus the value to domestic students. Take it away, guys.
All right. Do we have presenter? Hello.
Should I come to the front?
If you want to, yeah.
I don't know.
If you don't want to, that's fine. You can stay in the back. It's all up to you.
Okay, so hi, I'm Rafael, second year. Okay, so Extreme Society is pretty much a student group that encourages students to practice extreme sports. As we are in Iowa, we don't get to do a lot of round here, so we take advantage of breaks to go to like places further, like this fall break we're planning to go to Tennessee. Usually we go to national parks. We've been doing that for the past 5 years. Last year we went to Yellowstone and then Colorado, Grand Canyon. So yeah, usually we have like 20 people going. This time we cut down to 10 people because of the budget, because I don't know. Yeah, to pass it, we really want to go. A lot of people are like already committing their breaks to go. In the past years, it's been like really impressive that we have a lot of international students wanting to go because they usually don't have anything to do during breaks. They don't have a time to go, so they would either stay in Grinnell or come with us. It's been also like a really good environment, learning environment, because we mix like experienced hikers and campers with people who never hiked, never camped. Like I can speak for myself. First time I hiked and first time I camped was last year with Extreme, and now I'm like leading it and passing this knowledge to like new people, new first years who have never done the same, like upper class people who also have never done the same. Okay, so we're just asking money for like transportation and like the campsite. We're not asking, and the national park access, which is like $80 per car. We're going with 2 cars. We're planning to go with 3 cars. We're cut down to 2. Yeah, we have like an application to go, so more than 10 people showed interest. We haven't like told people who are going because we're waiting in the budget. The application is completely anonymous, so we don't know who's applying. We just ask for box numbers, and there's a selection committee. It's not only me, so we see all the applications and review them and select people who are really wanting to go and really want to go to learn something and to contribute to the group. We don't take people who just want to go because they want to get outside of Grinnell. We try to take people who see like a value in exploring new places and new landscapes. Yeah. So yeah, we're going from the 20th to the 26th of October during fall break to the Tennessee Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
All right, do you have anything left to add?
I don't know, I think, yeah.
That's good, okay, it's open for discussion. Can we get a mic to Senator Monteforte? Oh, all right, go for it.
I just want to make a comment on the first link. If you open it, I don't know if you did that, but if you open it, the value is not the same one showing there, because in the website it's for 6 people, and we messaged the Melinda, this woman, and we got a price for 10 people. So this is not the price that like you can think it's wrong, but no, because there in the website it's for 6 people, and we're going with 10 people. So that's the difference, like in price. I just wanted to.
We asked it for 125, I think. That's what she said.
Thank you. Okay, this budget is up for discussion. Ace Chair Mystic, do you have anything to add? Yeah, go for it.
Hello. So I have a few questions. So I guess the first question is, I'm assuming you guys have like all your own gear because it's not on the budget. Like food stuff and sleeping. Oh, okay, there it is, okay. Yay. Outside so, well then, now that I know that, where is this magical money coming from? And then, can you go back up to the top? Also questions about, I guess, like, never mind. You can just answer the question about the funding. And then also, like, how, I guess, if possible, were you guys thinking about getting other funding from other sources, like Michael Sims or someone from the college, I guess?
Okay, so we asked for everyone who's going to like for a personal contribution of $30. So like they're not like they have a minimum amount of dollars they're spending $30, and also they're paying for their food because like we don't think it's fair for like SGA to pay for people's food. That's everything they have to pay. For tents and sleeping bags and blah, 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 everything like all the equipment we got from GARP. They helped us a lot, and also like some people who are going out already had like sleeping bags and tents and liners. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the answer. And the other part of the question, asking budget for other like, I think we don't have time like for now. We didn't think of like for this break. We didn't think about it before. Also, I wasn't aware of the discussion about like all the publicity involved, like extremes involved, and never seen like whatever with extreme. So yeah, I don't know.
Vice Chair Mystic?
I was just gonna point out or like say, along with what Joshua kind of said at the beginning, introducing the budget, how we can like, who we can sit down, I guess is the first question with, like who we can sit down with and like how we can like talk about with the school to like allocate funding for specific student-led things that like clearly the school should be funding, because like it's not fair to like y'all for us to be like, you know, we can't fund this because we don't have enough money, but then it's like the school should be paying for this, for at least some of it, in my opinion. Similar with other events that like we've had to pay for now.
Senator, was that Senator Monteforte?
I just want to add something to that. Right now, it's too late for this break, for fall break, but for spring break, we want to talk to Outbreak because they got money from the college, and I don't know, it's a different kind of break, so maybe we can get funding with them, along with them, because they usually don't spend all the money they can. So Outbreak may be a source, but for right now, we don't have any other source, because the leadership was Misha. She graduated last year, she was the leader, and she kind of didn't answer anyone for a long time, so we're doing it at the last time because we didn't have like access to the email. Like it was something ridiculous like that. So that's why we're here like the last Senate before fall break, because we didn't have time to organize everything. Like we know it's not optimal right now, but that's everything we can do. So like we wanted to take everyone who applied. We had like, at the beginning we wanted to take 3 cars, but we don't think it's fair to ask for 2 cars, and only one student said he can take his car. So I think it's not fair to like ask for another car. We could be adding like more money, but like it's already a huge amount of money. So I don't know. It's not optimal, but that's what we're trying to do this break, because we know that like it's really important for a lot of international students, because they don't really have options outside Grinnell to go in the United States. Like Grinnell is their only place in the United States, and our groups mainly, like, I don't know, the last year, like half of the students were international, and I think it's really important for them to have like this kind of experience and like visiting places in the United States that maybe they're not gonna visit if we don't go, if we don't try, I don't know. It's enjoying the time in Grinnell, not only like in Grinnell as well, because it's a different kind of experience we're trying to provide to students.
Thank you. Treasurer Ercolani?
Also, just a comment, if you all have any suggestions, we should like reach out for spring break. We're open, just talk to us, because we really didn't know about it.
Treasurer Ercolani?
One quick thing, and then I have a question. I am one of the project managers on the Outbreak board, so feel free to reach out to me. I can get you in contact with the board and Kira. My question is, what happens if something goes wrong? If someone's injured, if there's anything that, any emergency situations, there's anybody on your leadership been brought through Title IX or crisis training with Bailey and Jen? Do you have any first aid experience? I know that the National Park Service is really good about that, but you're also, it looks like you're staying in an Airbnb outside the actual park. So, I mean, in a case like that, like, what contingency plans do you have in place for, you know, when something goes like horribly wrong? Because, you know, these things do happen.
Yeah, we hope nothing bad goes. Okay. So yeah, I had like all the CA training, all the crisis training, whatever, as a house coordinator. Also, we're gonna buy like all first aid kit and take it with us. We hope nothing happens. We're not staying in the park because they didn't have like any spots. I called them like last week and they were like, "We're out of spots. I'm sorry," because weekends are really busy, so they didn't have like any spots in the dates we wanted. They had like spots from Monday to Friday, but not on Saturday, and Sunday. So we're like, oh, okay. Yes, so we're gonna have cars, and if something really, really bad happens, we would probably just go like to ER and I don't know, try to solve it as the best we can, the best way we can.
Thank you. Diversity and Outreach Coordinator Logan. What was that?
I saw
Senator Collinger?
Sorry.
Sorry, just a reminder is that it's a lot easier to go by the name tag raising than the hand raising as people are talking. So just for like future. Senator Collinger?
Okay. So I had a question about the campsites because I was wondering, did you guys check like the national park, like going to the national park, like was it more expensive?
Yeah, as I just said to Quinn, they didn't have like any spots available. And also it would be more expensive than the first one. I don't think it would be more expensive than the second one, but the second one's outside the national park. It's in the Cherokee National Forest, so it's not in the Great Monk National Park. It's like a little bit to the east, so we can also do some hikes in the national forest in the 2 last days of the trip.
Cool, thanks.
Diversity and Outreach Coordinator Logan.
Two or three things. One quick question, have you looked into support from GORP?
Yeah, we got all the equipment from GORP.
Okay, cool. And then as a pre-question, so I can make my second question better, remind me what the extreme details of your trip are?
What do you mean, what we're going to be doing?
Yeah.
So we're camping like all of the week. We're gonna hike the first 3 days in the national park. I don't remember exactly the trail names, but I can send out to you if you want later. In the national park, we're gonna hike like day hikes. We're not gonna be like camping during doing 2 days hikes. We're gonna go back and forth to the campsite every day. Then we're maybe gonna go to Hot Springs one night and do like hikes in the national forest, go around the national forest to see like another landscape in the region. Yeah.
I really hope this does not sound interrogated-y, but like I thought extreme society was like jumping on like icebergs and shit. Seriously. And so I'm just wondering like how this trip aligns with the mission of the group, and maybe I misunderstood it.
I mean, we're not like doing extremely crazy stuff like jumping from planes, but we're doing like things we cannot do at Grinnell, like usually, because it's a completely different landscape. Like we're going like to hike 4,000 feet, like 10, I don't know how to say that in feet, like I don't know how many meters, I don't know. But yeah, that's like pretty high hikes. Yeah, like a lot of people that are going like they never hiked those, so that would be a really good experience and a really good like part of entrance to like more extreme sports. So they would like get to know and got to like it.
Yeah. And then last thing just to say, and like maybe someone can make me feel better about this, but like obviously there's risk with anything that anybody does that is SGA funds. This seems like a particularly risky group that we fund just in general. And I'm just imagining in the event that a rock falls, a wildfire, I'm not kidding. Like I'm not kidding at all. I'm a hiker. Like stuff happens, you know. We are the ones that funded that event to happen. And then I'm just imagining the domino effect after something like that happens. Yeah, that makes me feel really uneasy, and if I had a vote, I would feel uncomfortable putting my name, just thinking about that risk.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I hope nothing happens again, but like, that could be happening right now and the city could fall over us. I don't know, I hope not.
Senator Christian? Can we please get a mic to Senator Christian?
I was just wondering if you could talk to like the process you go to choose who gets to go on the trip, like if it's through a lottery, and I also, or if it's through like the people who are able to provide resources, because I feel like I worry if it's about who has a car and who has like tents, that it like discourages people who like first year students and people who don't have those resources from going on trips.
It's not a lottery. We would like to take everyone who wants to go, as we don't have like money to do that. We can only take 10 people, so we did like an application, a Google Forms, Anonymous, and okay, like a car, yes, we needed at least one car to go because we're only asking funding for one car, and we're gonna choose like people based on like the true willingness to go and to like experience like the outside and the hiking and the camping, and not like just like, okay, I'm here, I don't have anything to do during fall break, I want to go with this nice people to like a vacation or whatever. So, yeah.
Administrative Coordinator Welch?
Hey, I'm just like a little concerned that this budget is at Student Center right now because it wasn't approved in committee. Generally the process is like it gets approved in committee and then it comes here. I don't love the idea of it being punted to Student Senate, and I would like to hear, I don't know, I may be wrong, I don't know that we've even heard from people on SPC yet, like why it wasn't approved in committee. So I would love to hear those voices and just know sort of like what concerns came up, and kind of like, I don't know, where you're at with that.
Service Chair Tomatamor?
So this budget came toward the end. We had like 12 budgets. We had limited time, and we felt the discussion had to be fleshed out in a space where we weren't going to make the decision in like 2 minutes of a discussion, because people did bring up really good points, but I think me and Quinn and like most of the senators did acknowledge the fact that we wanted a more fleshed out discussion. We didn't want to put our stamp on it without having the kind of stuff you guys have brought up. Yeah, it was a bad week. We had 12 really long budgets.
Senator Timberwolf?
So one of the other reasons that we did not have enough time for discussion is because, as Joshua was saying, we were kind of subsidizing the college's advertisement, and obviously like we would like them to pay for that, but like I feel like students who are part of the extreme society should not be like responsible for that, and they should not be held accountable for that. So if they're planning something, and if we can fund it, we definitely should. Secondly, there's just another comment. They're doing, I think they're trying a lot in getting outside contribution. They're just trying to find funding for the traveling part. And thirdly, like most importantly, I feel as an international student, you know how we always talk about the bridge between like international students and other students on campus? For me personally, when I've been traveling, it's to different places. I've not gone on any of the extreme trips, but like traveling fills me in a lot of the context, and it helps me understand American culture a lot more. So for me personally, I think it's a great way to bridge the gap if, in a small way, if that's how I put it, yeah.
Councillor Chair Christensen?
Yeah, thank you. I just have a few questions and comments to make. My first was that like you can legally camp for free in any national forest in the U.S. Although you may not have like the facilities of a campsite, like you can legally camp anywhere in the national forest for free. So that might be something to consider if you are like interested in like getting a more authentic camping experience. I don't know about authentic. That's a little harsh of a word. I also wanted to ask. So you have 10 people going. Are you the only leader?
You mean that the person who is responsible for deciding who is going, or like?
Like who are the club leaders?
So I'm leading. Felipe is helping me, and Nicole Mendes, she's also helping us.
Okay, so you have 3 leaders. Are you part? So you're taking 7 other people besides yourself?
Nick's not going, so we're taking
Okay.
8 people.
How? I just get like. To me, it seems like very few people get the opportunity to participate, and I don't think that that makes it less worthy of an experience by any means. I'm just like a little bit worried about like the selection process and like how few students this budget will ultimately affect. There's one other thing I was going to mention. Sorry, I'm sick and my brain is not working. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Like, we really wish more people were going, but we would have like to rent another car and then ask them for more like $600, and we didn't feel that was like, I don't know, fair with you to ask for like $3,000 for it. So that's what we could.
I understand. Sorry, I just remembered. I feel like one of the most convincing arguments I personally have heard is that like this is a great opportunity for international students, but since the selection process is anonymous, like there's no guarantee that like any international students will necessarily go. Like it's not directed towards international students, so that also worries me.
It's not directed towards international students, but we hold like meetings, info sessions. So like people who wanted to go and people who were like who wanted to know more about it, and like half of the people who showed up to the info sessions were international students, and we assumed they are applying. We didn't check who applied and who is gonna go yet, because we were waiting for the budget again. So we just know like the box number, and we like for the past travels, like half of like last week both breaks, half of the group who went was international. So I'm assuming like this pattern is gonna just continue. Yeah, it can be like all the students that apply are international, or all the students that are applying are domestic. We don't have control over that. But I'm assuming as international students usually value the experience and like the opportunity, they would apply. But yeah, we don't have any control over that.
And just one more thing, to the anonymity of the application, aren't like all box numbers available on DB?
Yeah, but I don't check them until I decide who's going. Like I don't know anyone's box number, so like that's just a way that I can know who is the person behind it, but I don't know like their names.
Okay.
Senator Monteforte?
I just want to clarify some stuff, because since I'm also participating and helping my brother. Let's see, it's my brother, but I just wanna. Yeah, we're twins usually, but I just wanna like address some issues that were brought up. So I understand the concern with the safety and accidents, and I know it can happen. So we're obviously not doing anything super crazy. We're like just students, and we know that. We're just gonna like, I know that Logan said it's kind of, she doesn't understand how hiking can be extreme, but it's also like, it's not only about doing something that is like super risky, it's about like the whole experience of like, it's extreme conditions. Like here, you can go to the dining hall, you can cook and whatever, but when you're camping, you don't have like, sometimes you don't have it, you don't even have bathroom for like a week, and like extreme conditions in this sense as well. So that's something that I wanted to bring up. We're not crazy, we're not gonna like put our lives in his, like really, we're just like in a national park, and we're like trying to hike as good hikers, or maybe not as good hikers, but we're trying to be good hikers. And like I feel like the concern about like the safety and the is a super valid concern, but I don't think like we've been doing this for 5 years, and mainly we have like at least half of the group who has experience and who has done it before, and who is really good at like guiding new students who have never done it through the process of like camping, setting a tent, walking during the day, the whole day, or like, I don't know, anything like sleeping in sleeping bags, in a tent, in the cold. stuff that people are not used to. So like I don't feel like that is it should be like a super concern. We're not crazy. Really, we're doing things with responsibility. Also, I just want to bring up some data about Extreme. We have a mailing list of more than 130 students right now. So it's almost 10% of the campus. So everyone who's in the mailing list got the application form and they could apply. We got 12, 13 applications because it was late. We released the application really late, really close to the date because we didn't have access again to the email. So 13 applied, I think, and 2 people already dropped their applications, message again saying like, oh, I applied, but I cannot go anymore because we didn't give any answer, we didn't give a response yet. So they want to know what they're gonna do like next weekend. So it's really like urgent in this sense. So coming back to your question, you were saying like, I feel like it's a really few people who are benefiting for this budget, but right now from 11 people, we're taking 8. So like only 3 people are not gonna, we wish we could take them, but usually we only ask for 1 car for SGA, and if we had another student applying with a car, we would have taken like everyone, but we only have 1 student who applies with a car. So that's why we need to like bring it down. We could have asked for like 15 cars, like and take out all the college, but that's not feasible. Like that's not what we want to do. We don't want to like be a burden for SGA. We understand that like there are ways that are like better funding it, but not for next week. So that's why we're here. I don't know if it makes sense.
Thank you. Senator Tibble?
Yeah, Felipe's response kind of covered that, but I was just going to say that they came to committee and they wanted to take more people, but we had to table them and kind of ask them to reduce the amount that they were asking for, so that's why they cannot include more people.
Thank you. Diversity and Outreach Coordinator Logan? Can we please get a mic down to DOC Logan? Thank you.
Okay. Two things. One, generally, my thought, and any of the like budgetary chairs who have more experience with this can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that student government has the capacity to responsibly fund this. And so I think about when we fund other like risky stuff. So like when we fund travel through like student drivers, right? And like that's a mechanism that we kind of rely on for the safety of our students and like the events that they attend. And I don't know, like we should recognize about ourselves if we don't know enough about what it takes to have a safe outdoors trip to fund it. And like that's nothing against Extreme Society. Like I want y'all to have like the greatest experiences ever. I'm just saying I think we're doing students a disservice if we act like we know what it takes to safely fund something like this kind of trip. And the other thing I'm wondering in like a more narrow DOC position is, so if your applicants are anonymous, if you have, random example, a person in a wheelchair who wants to go on your trip and you select them to go, what are the planned accommodations for people who are not typically able?
Okay, so if someone's in a wheelchair is selected to go, we would talk to them and see like how can we fit, like how can we do the trip to be the best trip for them, and do like things that they could do, and then like okay, if we couldn't make this hike with them, we would like everyone change to another hike, or maybe even part of the group I would be willing like to be with them in like activities they would be willing to do and could do. I don't know.
I am not comfortable with the fact that an outdoors activity like this, which is already inherently like really risky and like there's a lot of moving parts with this kind of stuff. I think that especially if you're going to do an anonymous process where you could, like anyone could have any sort of accommodation that they need, I would want to know that the leaders not only just have like thought about it a little bit, but like have plans set in place and possibly even have training on what it looks like to run an outdoors trip that is accessible to people that aren't like typically able, because it is a different experience, you know? Yeah.
Is Chair Mystic?
Hello. So a few things. So on what you just finished on, like for example, like an alt break leader goes through training from like this semester all the way until spring break, just to like take 10 people to a place. And like, I'm not saying that like you guys aren't prepared, because clearly this has been happening for multiple years, and so like it has to have some validity if it's been alive for this whole time. It's just that, and this is my second point, this is the very type of thing that the college has argued SGA continues to like support, and it's basically the founding of like why they want to have the SAG position on us, is to like check these types of things where, you know, there really is no guarantee of anything. I'm not even trying to be like an asshole or anything like that, but in terms of like, I'm looking at my lens with Sarah Motion Ross right now. I'm using my Sarah Motion Ross glasses right now, and she would tear us up right now. And so it's like, I don't want it to be that we pass this budget and it has very serious ramifications for SGA, not to be self-centered, but also like what we can fund in the future for all students, for like the future of Grinnell in general. Wow, that went really deep, I'm sorry.
President Becker? Could we please get a mic to President Becker? Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts here. I think the majority of the conversation seems to be dominated by creating an opportunity for international students to see the States. I want to acknowledge that there are domestic students of need who also have an opportunity to see the States. I think that's also important to consider. And so I think when acknowledging both groups of people and then pairing that with an anonymous application process, I feel like there's like this dissonance between what the group is trying to do and the follow through on kind of what is being done. I feel like that is one of my concerns. I think I'd also like to echo concerns over just like the general accessibility of this event. I feel like as the Senate and like as representatives of the student body, one of our goals is Grinnellians to promote accessibility, and I'm concerned about how this happens if a person isn't typically physically able. Yeah.
VPSA Tumbu?
One simple question, what's the weather gonna be like during fall break in that area? And another question is, have you guys thought about accessibility of clothing, and like if people have the appropriate clothing to like hike, slash be in those conditions, whatever they may be, like hiking shoes? Because I know it's like really hard to hike if you don't have hiking shoes. It would hurt a lot. So I've done it before.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like 50s during night, that's the lowest it's gonna get. So first, okay, can I just respond to Maya's comment before? You said that like, when we talk about like our goal to engage international students, but it doesn't reflect in the way that we are selecting people anonymously. But it will be really easy to say that I'm just selecting my friends if I knew who was applying, and like, okay, I'm taking 10 people to the trip and I know who are they, like that would be clearly like a biased selection. So that's why we do it anonymously. So otherwise it would be like everyone would be arguing that we're taking like only the friends, and that would be like a really good like friends trip. Okay, so coming back to VPSA, yeah, points. So we've talked to people who have gone to the meetings, to the info sessions, to talk to them like, if you have enough clothes. A lot of the international students never experienced like cold weather, never went hiking in like US conditions, and most of them have, the ones that don't have, we're working with them to get like the clothes that they need. And if like we have like extra clothes, personal clothes that we would be willing like to lend them during the trip, and figure out if like size matters and stuff, yeah, how we can like take them to like, I don't know, shopping or whatever. Also, Garvey has some resources we can use.
Raphael, at any point, if you have anything to add, just raise your hand so that we don't have to go back to things that have already been said. I'm sorry, I can't see you super well, so I can't see if like just raise your hand, yeah, if you have anything to add.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That was my mistake. Senator Collinger. Can we please get a mic to Senator Collinger? Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, is anyone on the trip first aid certified, like CPR certified? And I was wondering also if that isn't a thing, that we make that a requirement for anyone taking out one of these trips, because I feel like that would add to the, I guess, good conscience of passing something like this, because then it requires basically that at least there is someone that knows what's going on, and if need be, if there is something that goes wrong, they know how to handle the situation.
Okay. First, I don't know if I'm certified in the United States. I did all the training for the CA. I know I'm certified back in Brazil, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't count for here. So yeah. I don't know if anyone is going east, because I don't know who is going. I can say that like people in the leadership, like us, we're not certified. We don't have like a certificate in the United States in our government. I don't know if that's what you want to know. Yeah, if we should, I agree. That would be nice to have it. I don't know how I could get certified. And what other things that I asked? Sorry. Okay.
Treasurer Ercolani.
I have two things. One, just I want to clarify, you are going to the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, correct?
Yes.
A look at the weather forecast shows that next week the temperatures are going to be below freezing at night, and the high is going to be in like the mid or high 40s, not lows in the 50s.
I looked at it yesterday, but okay.
Yeah, well, it has changed. Also, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, motion to limit debate so it does not extend past 8:30 on this matter.
Do you mind repeating that? Did you say so it does not go past 8:30 on this matter? Okay, do we have a second for that motion? Administrative Coordinator Welch. Okay, all those in favor of limiting debate? No, not yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Miles is at 15. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Okay, so that passes. And so the motion to limit debate to not extend past 8:30 has passed.
Okay, also just to add to that, we camped last spring, and it was like colder than what you just said, and it was okay. We had like carp equipment, the same equipment we were taking, and we were fine. So yeah.
Okay, so seeing that there's 5 minutes left in this debate, we're gonna see what HJ Mystic has to add. And I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So HJ Mystic, go for it. But these are the last few comments.
Okay, I think that it's not more so about, I guess, like the students on the trip who have experience in being in spaces and have the materials and supplies. It's more so the fact that funding this would be saying that we approve knowing all of the lists of risks that we've now accumulated throughout this discussion. And just like I said before, thinking about like how SGA is being basically like looked under a magnascope right now. Like, that is not a word. Oh gosh, you know I'm tired. No, but just like thinking about the fact that like we are trying to be more mindful of how we behave, just because of the fact that like they're trying to eliminate us. And so I have conspiracy theories, guys. Okay, leave me alone. But no, I think that had this budget come a week ago, I would have been like, okay, let's see what we can do about this, but I just feel really uncomfortable, like just going with it, knowing that like everything that like any other entity of this college does would not let this happen, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Tipperwolf, could we please get a mic to Senator Tipperwolf? Thank you.
I really like what Senator Collinger said. I think they should get a CPR and first aid certification. That can be done pretty easily. I know the Bear uses the National CPR Foundation, and that takes you like a few hours to do it, so you can get that done pretty quickly. And also this budget couldn't come up last week because it was stable. They had the budget.
Thank you. AC Welch?
I just want to say to Vice Chair Mystic's point, she is right, we're being watched closely, but at the same time, we are discerning adults and can make decisions for ourselves and can identify when there's risk, if we think there's too much, if there's not, so that's something we can all handle.
Thank you. Senator Zernick? Can we please get a mic to Senator Zernick?
Thank you. Just really quickly, I don't want this to extend for very long because we are on the time budget, but I'm curious what questions are on your application besides like willingness to, I'm just curious about the questions and whether those denote some sort of need and this goes back to earlier points, but whether there are any questions that specify some sort of special need or like special thing that this.
Yeah, sure. So, why do you want to go? Your experience with extreme sports outside, sports, hiking, camping, whatever. Like, describe your experience. How do you deal with stressful situations or situations that go wrong? What's the perfect group environment for you? And like, when you're in a group, how do you act? And because like we are gonna be camping and cooking for ourselves, so we need like people to cooperate and stuff. And like any other thing that they need, they think it's important for us to know about them, including recommendations.
Okay, so we have 1 minute left, and Raphael, I want you to have the last word on this, so if you have anything left to add.
Yeah, I mean, I see all the, I understand why you can all be like worried about it, but I also see that we're not taking like really, really high risks. We're like gonna be really prudent in everything we do. We're not gonna do like anything really like, the name of the group is Extreme Society, but we're not gonna be like jumping on rocks and like hiking on really steep cliffs and stuff like that. We're gonna be like doing day hikes to see the nature and to like experience different landscapes we cannot do it here. Yeah, I hope like we've been doing that for like 5 years, and like a lot of people will have committed their fall break to like go with us. So I would be really, really happy to be able to go. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for all the questions and comments that you made.
Thank you very much for the presentation of that budget. Okay, so do I see any motions following that? Senator Tipperwolf? So we have a motion to previous questions. Does anyone?
Real quick, I just want to encourage you all to either vote to approve or deny this budget because you all have the information to do so, and abstention is a way out of abdicating your responsibility.
Thank you, AC Welch. So we have a motion to previous question. Does anyone second that motion? Senator Knapp? Okay, so all those in favor? Please raise your hands nice and high. All those, 1 second, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Okay, we are now moving into the voting procedure for the budget for Extreme Society. The polls are open. A is in favor, B is opposed, C is abstaining, and once again, this is for the budget for Extreme Society's fall break trip. And that's everyone? All right, that was record time. With 9 in favor, 9 opposed, and 1 abstaining. Are we? So, it does not pass.
It's 50% plus
So this budget, unfortunately, there is more of a majority. There's 1 abstaining and there's 9 opposed, while there is 9 in favor, so this does not pass. Okay, so seeing that that does not pass, we're gonna move on to the next budget, which is November. The next budget is November, so the presenter of that. Oh, my apologies, I saw the requested amount. So are those all the budgets? No more budgets. Okay, so the next item on the agenda are the cabinet reports. AC Welch. Treasurer Ercolani. Assistant Treasurer Weber. DOC Logan. VPA Murphy.
Wait, I didn't have a report there. Hello. And I should explain myself. Last week, I did not submit my report because I forgot because I was traveling. I was at actually a diversity-related conference. I won't bore you with it, but it was super interesting. Feel free to ask me about it. Most of my work in the past 2 weeks has been helping with first-year council. They're planning some fall break programming so that for people that don't go home or like they have stuff to do on campus. Working with outreach committee, working on the council on diversity and inclusion. You guys saw that report that went out. Ask me if you want any more like details about that. I think those are the like major things that I've been working on, and getting everybody's pictures. Don't go anywhere after this.
Thank you, DOC Logan. VPL Murphy. President Becker. VPSA Tombu.
So last week I was really busy with STI testing, setting that up, working with Jen Jacobson, Shax, and other partners in order to have a really successful event. We're happy to report that we actually succeeded 100% testing of 211, and there were even more students who wanted to get tested, so now we know that there's a demand. And so we'll probably increase the number of cups that we'll have next time. We funded the ice cream. What else? Update with dining. They now have sunflower butter for people who cannot consume. Yes. Yeah, I told them. It worked. Yes. Just a little happy. So that's next to the station with the toasters. And the jam and stuff like that. I'm working with Joe Rosen. Is that his last name, hopefully?
Rosen, oh, my bad.
Roland.
Joe Roland.
Joe Roland, to work on pricing. And so this upcoming, or like the next dining committee, we're gonna present on pricing and hopefully try to lower that in the grill. We already have some like plans in place, I had a couple of meetings with Jeanette. One idea that like we came up with, maybe having like various different sizes of cups so that we can have like one a little less expensive cup. So those are in the works, for example, for the fresh fruit smoothies, so that can be more accessible to all students. Also, we're talking about having more like vegan / like vegetarian options in the grill. Something that I mentioned to them was having vegan O-cups noodles and like having gluten-free ramen noodles. So we'll see like where that goes. I had a couple of meetings with the Student Environmental Club talking about like paper waste / cup waste / straws. And so I'll be talking to the dining committee about that as well. Let's see, what else did I do? I had a really busy week last week. Oh, I had a lot of meetings with 1010 hosts because there are a couple of incidents that happened. So I'm working with admin / the 1010 hosts about that and trying to resolve that issue. And I had my meeting with Sarah Moshe Ross and Ben Newhouse, our weekly meeting. I think that's about it. There are probably more stuff that I'm forgetting to say, but yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Chair Christensen?
Yeah, so last week, let's see, I was mostly getting ready for the concert that we had on Saturday, which went really well. So thanks anybody who attended that. I'm also starting to get ready for the week that we get back. We actually have 2 really big shows. On the 31st, which is Halloween, we have Porches and Girl Pool, and I'm actually, I've reached out to both like my committee members, and I also wanted to reach out to all of the senators to ask for help planning that. It's going to be like Halloween themed, so we're planning on doing like a costume contest, having treats, but in order for it to be as successful as I hope it to be, I would appreciate some help in planning that. If anybody is interested, probably need to meet the band. And then on that Saturday, Haley Hendricks will be playing with Squirrel Flower opening. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come talk to me.
Thank you. Services Chair Totawa? Can we please get a mic to Services Chair Totawa? Thank you.
Okay. Real quick, this is more just, please come to committee, guys. We get a lot of budgets and we have now spent half of the SPC, which is like 14,000 that disappeared, which you guys don't know about. It would be great to see you there because again, only budgets over $1,000 come here. So you do not know what we're doing with the rest of it.
Thank you. Do you have anything? Okay. H. Chair Mystic?
Hi guys, it was a stressful week. I saw multiple crises. I had to look up the plural word for crisis because I didn't know, but it was crises. Including like people just like deciding on Wednesday that they just didn't want to host their party on Friday, or like people deciding even though they told me they wanted to have their event on this day, they were like, nah, we gonna do it this day. So like, yes, might not seem like a big deal, but it's very stressful when there's no dates available anymore. But anyways, I met with hosts. I edited my host contracts to be better. The DSA meeting went actually pretty well, although a lot of DSA people weren't there. We talked a lot about important things like the BCC and having more people.
Point of privilege, please hold the mic closer to you. Thank you.
Yes, sorry. We also talked about adding more people to the group like the CLS, someone from the CLS and someone from FM, because of the fact that like those groups, entities on campus are important and so they need to be a part of those conversations. We also, what else? Oh, I began to plan for next semester, looking at dates and things of that nature. Also, I'll be working on committee senator guidelines, which basically is something I want to enact next semester where ACE senators are being more involved in ACE stuff. Yeah. Any questions?
Anything further to add?
No.
No? All right, thank you. All right, seeing that all the cabinet reports are done, we're going to move on to the last item on the agenda, which is the adjourning motion. I see AC Welch. Does anyone second that? President Becker. Okay, all those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. Nay. All those abstaining. All right. Senators, please stick around for your pictures with diversity.